and welcome to the Voice of Vietnam. I'm Hồng Hạnh. In today's program, we'll give you an update on Vietnam Sea and Islands. That will be followed by our Saturday report discussing how DNA Bank formatters ignites hope for confirming fallen soldiers' identities. Finally, our View This Weekend music session will play songs that commemorate the 77th anniversary of War Invalids and Martyrs Day. But first, here's the news.
In the headlines, respect-paying ceremonies for General Secretary Fu Chang are held overseas.
The Prime Minister receives special envoy of Thai government leader.
Tributes are paid to heroes and matters nationwide.
And US, Egypt, Qatar, and Israel will meet in Rome to discuss Gaza truce. Now for the news in detail.
Respect-paying ceremonies for General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam, Nguyễn Phú Trọng, was held on Friday at Vietnamese embassies and diplomatic representative offices in many countries around the world. On behalf of U.S. President Joe Biden and the American people, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan extended deep condolences on the passing of General Secretary Chang, a visionary leader and an important partner to the U.S. According to Sullivan, the General Secretary's influence on Vietnam and the world will last for a long time and is reflected through the comprehensive strategic partnership and an ambitious and dynamic agenda. The U.S. National Security Advisor said he personally always supports a closer partnership between the two countries, and he will remember the leadership and concern of General Secretary Chang. The same day, President of the 78th United Nations General Assembly, Dennis Francis, paid his respect to the Vietnamese General Secretary at the headquarters of the Vietnam Permanent Mission to the UN in New York. He sent the deepest condolences to the government, people of Vietnam, and the family of the General Secretary. The UN General Assembly President emphasized that Mr. Chang's leadership, dedication, and wholehearted service to the country have left indelible mark in the heart of every Vietnamese person. After 2 days of national mourning, the Vietnam Permanent Mission to the UN welcomed nearly 100 delegates who paid their respect and wrote notes in the funeral book in memory of General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng. In Thailand, delegations of international organizations and foreign embassies, plus Thai ministries, sectors, businessmen associations, companies, overseas Vietnamese, and Buddhist organizations were present at the ceremony to pay tribute to party leader Chang. In Bangladesh, a total of 27 delegations from the government and political parties, diplomatic representative, friendship association and friends, and Vietnamese expat visited, expressed condolences, wrote a funeral book in remembrance of the General Secretary. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính hosted a reception in Hanoi on Friday for Jakapong Sangmani, the special envoy of Thai Prime Ministers, who was in Vietnam to attend the funeral for Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng. Prime Minister Chính expressed his deep gratitude to the Thai minister and delegation for coming to Vietnam to pay respects to the party leader, describing this as evidence of the friendship and close ties between leaders and the people of the two countries. He reiterated his invitation to Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin to visit Vietnam and co-chair the 4th Vietnam-Thailand Joint Cabinet meeting at a suitable time. The two sides discussed and agreed on several bilateral cooperation directions in the coming time, including the effective implementation of the three-connection strategy, strengthening cooperation in the areas of security, trade, tourism, and transport, with a focus on stronger aviation, road and rail connectivity. A delegation of leaders and former leaders from the Party Central Committee, the National Assembly, the State President, the government, and the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee paid floral tribute to the monument to war heroes and martyrs and to President Ho Chi Minh at his mausoleum in Hanoi on Saturday, on the occasion of the 77th anniversary of the War Invalid and Martyrs Day. The delegation included President Tô Lâm, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, and National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn. Local authorities across Vietnam have paid tribute to heroes and martyrs on the 77th anniversary of War Invalid and Martyrs Day. The Youth Union in Cao Bang Province on Friday offered incenses and flowers and lit candles in memory of fallen soldiers at local cemeteries and memorial sites. Ms. Lee Thu-Hiền, Youth Union Secretary of Cao Bằng Ethnic Boarding High School, said,
I myself have participated in lighting memorial candles many times. Every single time I'm filled with emotion and gratitude for the heroic martyrs who sacrificed their lives for our nation.
The same day, martyr cemeteries in many provinces and cities of Vietnam were lit up with memorial candles by the local youth unions. On this occasion, gifts have been given to families of fallen soldiers.
Turn now to the world news. CIA Director William Burns will meet this weekend in Rome with his Israeli and Egyptian counterparts and Qatar's Prime Minister for talks on a Gaza ceasefire and the release of hostages by Hamas. Mr. Burns would meet Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani and the Egyptian and Israeli intelligence chiefs on Sunday to discuss the latest ceasefire agreement proposal between Israel and Hamas forces. The focus of discussion was narrowing disagreements on the conditions for reaching an agreement between Israel and Hamas. However, according to sources close to ongoing talks cited by Hebrew media, the Israeli negotiating team is concerned that extra conditions Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently added to the current hostage ceasefire deal on the table are, quote, intended to cause a crisis, unquote. Netanyahu is currently in the U.S. aiming to win U.S. support for Israel's military campaign in the Gaza Strip. Former U.S. President Barack Obama on Friday announced his support for Kamala Harris' presidential bid. On his social platform X, Obama vowed he would do everything he could to make sure Kamala Harris wins in November, urging the public to join. Obama, who served as U.S. President for 8 years after winning the election in 2008, is the latest prominent Democrat to endorse Harris' bid after incumbent President Joe Biden announced his withdrawal from the presidential race on July 21st. Hundreds of thousands of spectators were treated to the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games Paris 2024 on Friday evening, which broke out of the stadium to take over the heart of the city for the first time in history. Despite hours of rain, the Paris Olympics executed a 4-hour ceremony that dazzles the crowds and the world. First came a parade on the scene of 7,000 athletes from countries and territories. The delegations floated along a route nearly 6 kilometers long. Thousands of performers with Lady Gaga, Aya Nakamura, Gojira Band being highlights performed songs and dances, both modern and traditional French, on the stairs, the bridge, and on the balconies of iconic buildings of Paris along the Seine River. The action then moved to the Eiffel Tower, which glittered with lasers and strobe effects. At 11 p.m. local time, French President Emmanuel Macron officially declared the Games open.
I declare the Paris Olympics open, welcoming the 33rd Olympic Games in the history of the modern sport movement.
Next came torch relay and torch lighting by French and world athletes, including Zinedine Zidane, Rafael Nadal, Serena Williams, and Marie-José Perret at the arena. The Olympic torch was then lit in Concorde Square and placed on a hot air balloon-shaped cauldron floating in the Paris sky. Celine Dion, who hasn't performed in 4 years due to a neurological disorder, then brought the house down with Edith Piaf's song Into Love on the Eiffel Tower.
During the news, here are the headlines once again. Respect-paying ceremonies for General Secretariat at Fujian are held overseas.
The Prime Minister receives special envoy of Thai government leader.
Tributes are paid to heroes and martyrs nationwide.
And US, Egypt, Qatar and Israel will meet in Rome to discuss Gaza truce. That's the news. You're listening to the Voice of Vietnam. Time now for Saturday Report. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính on Tuesday launched a DNA bank for unidentified martyrs and their relatives. This will not only bring hope to over 300,000 families of missing martyrs, but also fulfill Vietnamese people's long-standing desire to identify and honor all those who sacrificed their lives for national defense. Identifying martyrs' remains has been a priority set by the party and the state over the years. DNA test is considered a key methodology, especially in cases samples lack sufficient information for empirical methods. To date, nearly 10,000 samples of martyrs' remains and over 3,000 biological samples from martyrs' relatives have been analyzed through DNA tests, resulting in the identification of more than 1,000 martyrs. Two of them, Phan Minh Nhâm from Thái Bình province and Phạm Văn Phước from Thanh Hóa province, finally had their identities confirmed and were returned to their families for burial after half a century.
Tôi là con em trai của liệt sĩ. I am Maro Phan Minh Nhâm, younger brother. After nearly 50 years, we are finally reunited. Our family's wish has been fulfilled. When our parents were alive, they would search high and low for him whenever any news came up. Now that they are no longer here, he finally returned. We are now content.
Before they died, I promised my parents to go look for my brother. We went through so much trying to find him, and today I can finally meet my elder brother. The joy of these reunited families have brought hope to those whose loved ones' identities remain unconfirmed. My father is Martyr Phạm Văn Phong, who laid down his life in the eastern part of Laos on October 26, 1970. Today, we still don't know where his remains are. My family has been looking for him for 20 years, but I still hope and strive to bring him home.
We fought during the Southwestern Border Defense in late 1977. 10 of us laid down their life, and one who was killed in Benin province has yet to be found. We as his comrade were full of guilt, and asked our comrade in southern region to search all cemetery there were to no avail. We want to see our fellow soldier again. His family, wife, and children wish every day to see him again.
The ongoing search and identifying of missing martyrs is further motivated by the yearning hope of their comrades and families. Minister of Labor, Invalids and Social Affairs Đào Ngọc Dung said,
Collecting DNA samples from unidentified remains and their relative add up to approximately 600,000 people is a key preparation for a long haul of identifying missing matters remain. Connecting the national population database with DNA technology will hopefully reunite many families and alleviate their pain and grief.
More than 1.2 million martyrs died in Vietnam's resistance wars. Today, their comrades and loved ones are still tirelessly searching and collecting information with the hope of identifying around 180,000 samples of martyrs' remains among 300,000 martyrs in cemeteries across the nation and return them to their proper resting place. Time now for Sea and Islands News Roundup. National flags are hung at half-mast during the 2 days of national mourning on Thursday and Friday on Trường Sa Archipelago and the DK1 platform in remembrance of General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng. Islanders expressed their condolences and respect for an excellent simple leader who devoted his life to the country and people. Lieutenant Colonel Chen Guangfu, commander of Chunsa Island, Brigade 146, Naval Region 4, recalled that during his trip on May 5, 2016, General Secretary Chiang said he believed in the political willpower and fighting spirit of service people in protecting the national sovereignty over sea and islands.
Trong trái tim một cán bộ chiến sĩ Trường Sa, Tổng Bí thư mãi là tấm gương.
In the heart of every officer and soldier stationed in Trường Sa, General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng is forever a shining example of revolutionary heroism and a noble symbol of steadfast communists.
Ms. Trần Thị Châu Úc, a resident of Song Tử Tây Island Commune, made a pledge. We promise that in the light of the sacred soul of the General Secretary, the people of Song Tử Tây Islands Commune will always be fully and deeply aware of, with one mind and one desire to contribute, overcome all difficulties, and successfully accomplish the duties of citizens. On the occasion of the 77th anniversary of War Intellects and Martyrs Day, Vice Chairman of the National Assembly Nguyễn Khắc Định and the working group, together with leaders of Khánh Hòa Province, on Sunday laid roots and offered incense at Gạc Ma Soldiers' Memorial Site in Cẩm Lam District, Khánh Hòa Province. Vice Chairman Định wrote in the memory book, quote, "The party, state, and people of Vietnam will forever remember the great contributions of the heroic martyrs who fought and sacrificed for independence and freedom of the fatherland, as well as for the people's happiness. 46 outstanding sons of the nation who were resilient and indomitable and fought bravely with the Gạc Ma Immortal Circle have become the heroic symbol of the Vietnam People's Army," unquote. It's a circle created by 64 martyrs who stood side by side to embrace the national flag. 120 young Vietnamese experts from 28 countries and territories offered incense at the St. Chan Monument and took a study tour at the Naval Academy as part of the 2024 Vietnam Summer Game program. Participants were provided with more information about sovereign rights, sovereignty over sea and islands of the fatherland, as well as the value of sea and islands in economic development associated with national defense and security at sea. The Naval Academy hopes that overseas Vietnamese youth will spread information and love for sea and islands, as well as Vietnam's responsibility for the international community in preserving a peaceful and stable environment and maritime stability. 120 delegates of this year's Vietnam Summer Camp offered incense and flowers at Gạc Ma Memorial Site in Khánh Hòa Province. And that's the roundup of Sea and Island News.